Hello, my name is Brandon. I'm going to be responding to Zachary Parrish, and his quote comes from Kenneth Waltz, where he's talking about the checks and balances. And your question is, do you think the checks and balances are working well in the United States? How big of an influence do you believe the checks and balances within the country have on our international relations? And to keep in mind the government shutdown when thinking about all this. So instead of pulling quotes from our articles, I'm actually going to keep it with our current events right now because of our government shutdown. Um, so two quick things. One from the National Review is saying how the EPA, they routinely seem to overestimate the benefits and the resources, and they underestimate the cost of regulations, and they poorly manage the research funds. And I just think this is just one little example of how our three branches of government are doing a very poor job in communicating with each other, which leads to government shutdowns like we had this past week. And even in these times of government shutdowns, our branches of government, especially our executive branch, is doing a very poor job of trying to solve it. A quote from the New York Times right here is saying that it's a quote from Trump speaking to like the Democrats, saying they have to come to their senses. This doesn't seem to be a very professional way of solving things, and clearly, because after 3 days, they just now are ending the government shutdown. My personal opinion on all this is that I think when the checks and balances were first established, it was left kind of vague because at that point in time, that's what worked. But now, everything is so complicated, everything is so much bigger and more involved. The checks and balances really need to be reestablished and rewritten and way more clear guidelines because the way it's set up now is clearly not working. And then to your point of your international relations, how can we expect to solve someone else's problems if we can't even really seem like to solve our own first? So I think a good first step would be to solve our own relations and our own checks and balances before we try to really get involved inside of other countries' balances and see what's going on inside of their government. Thank you.